So I just finished having my blood taken for this yearly test I have to do because of my job. And they told me it would take like an hour. So I go down to the cafeteria in the basement and I get a bowl of soup, some kind of vegetable soup. They give you a little pack of crackers with it. And I'm looking around the cafeteria and all the tables are filled up. But there's one table, there's a nurse sitting there. She looks really cute, mid-20s, short black hair, real pretty eyes. So I go and sit next to her and I ask her what she's eating because it looks pretty interesting. I didn't remember seeing it back at the cafeteria line. And she said she's eating human brains. And I thought, yeah, sure you are. You're just kidding. Maybe worried that I'm going to try to hit on you, so you figured you'd chase me off by some horror story about your meal. So I played along with it, not wanting to be put off that easily. I said, human brains, huh? And she said, yeah, she showed me, and it actually looked like human brains. And I said, is that really human brains? And she didn't smile or anything, so I figured she was serious. And she said, yeah, human brains are actually pretty good. And I said, how do you get them? And she said, we get them at the hospital. Because when people die, and they take them down to the morgue and then send them off to the funeral home to prepare them for the family, they can suck their brains out of their eye sockets and no one will really know, because they can pull the eyeballs out, cut off the optic nerve and back, take all the brains out, then put the eyeballs out, and they're going to have their eyes closed at the funeral anyway. A lot of times they'll just stick a bunch of gauze and where the eyeballs went and close the eyelids over the eyeballs because nobody will know the difference. And so she's eating these brains, and she says it's really, really healthy because the human brain especially, has a lot of nutrients. And in fact, if you look back in our evolutionary history, you'll find that all people from all over the world have this genetic defense against a disease that comes from eating brains. And she says when you think about it, eating brains is really no different than any animal eating another animal. Because all animals, not all animals, but a lot of animals, they eat other animals, either directly or indirectly. And really, this matter that makes up the human brain is really no different than the matter that makes up other animals that we eat, like hamburger meat. And she says there's even a kind of a conspiracy program where all the hospitals are working together and they're taking about 10% of the human brains that they take out of dead people that they don't eat. And they take that 10% of the human brains and they covertly mix it in with all of the ground beef, because they're trying to build up our resistance. They think that there's some kind of, because of all the bacteria, not all the bacteria, but all the antibiotics that we've been taking, there's like these super bugs that are super resistant to all the bacteria, all the antibiotics that we've been taking. And so these scientists are trying to build up our immunity against these superbugs, and they've discovered that the way to do that is by covertly feeding all of us human brains. And so if you're not a vegetarian, it's chances are you eat a little bit of human brains at least once a week. And if you're a vegetarian, rest assured that the scientists and the doctors that are in charge of this program are working on ways to introduce human brains into vegetarian food somehow. And so they hope that they will build up our resistance to these superbugs. And then she took up like a spoonful of these human brains and held it out to me and said, would you like some? And I said, look at the time. I think my blood test is done. And I got up and left. Jesus Christ.